So, hello. Today we are going to discuss the various types of holograms, their classification on the basis of the recording material, also on the basis of the technology being used, on the basis of optical geometries, configurations, etc. Then we will also discuss about the applications of holography. Some of the applications you already know for 3D viewing and on generation of or reconstruction of barcodes in security of documents. But there are many more applications which are more scientific and for critical applications. So we'll go into detail of each of those applications. So let's first start with uh, the slide which will show us the list. So this is just a list of what we will be discussing, and I will just recall what we know about this holography is that on a recording plate, the image of the object is captured in terms of intensity in the x and y direction, whereas a reference wave of the same wavelength of light which is coming from the object. That means the, the, the wave coming from this object and the wave coming from this reference are same. They are coherent. So this reference wave and the wave coming from the object will interfere with each other, and it will form a interference pattern on the recording plate. And this interference pattern will give us the information about intensity, the xy direction, x and y direction, and phase information in terms of interference fringes when viewed from different angles in the set direction on the plane of the paper and also along the depth, right? So this was just to recall that what we have so far discussed in the holography. Now if we go to the classification part, see the classification can be done on different uh, basis. One of the basis for this classification is the thickness of the recording plate. Now the recording plate can be very thin and uh, can be very thin and also can be very thick. So there are two types of holograms. One is the thin hologram and other is the thick hologram. In the thin hologram, the thickness of the recording plate is very small. It is almost of the size and even less than the distance between the interference fringes. So you can say it will be comparable to the wavelength or of course higher than the wavelength of the light source. So this type of recording is called thin hologram. It can be both reflective and as well as transmittive. In a thin uh, recording plate hologram, you get mostly a two-dimensional interference pattern on the plate, but you don't get much information along the depth of the recording plate. That means any phase information will be available on the plane of the photograph or plane of the recording plate. So that means the interference pattern will be mostly two-dimensional. So here you will get a limited information about the 3D viewing, very limited. So, but it has its own application and advantages. The major advantage is it is thin, cheap, low cost, and you can also get uh, barcode reading all those informations, holographic informations, where only security of the documents are involved. In such type of applications, thin volume holograms are very helpful. Thick holograms are those holograms which use recording plates of bigger thickness, which is much, which is much larger than the uh, uh, interference fringes gaps. So such holograms uh, give you advantage in terms of the depth. That means if you view from one angle, you will get information of one particular depth. If you view from another angle, you will get another information from another depth. So when this is more dependent upon the Bragg's law of diffraction, which you had studied during the uh, study of crystal structures, because Bragg's law of diffraction gives you the information about the interatomic layers in a crystal. So similarly, if you are viewing the hologram of an object, then such thick holographic plates will give you information layer by layer about the complete object. So you will get the complete information about the depth of the object. So it will give you a complete 3D viewing experience. Now, this type of thick hologram can be also considered as a color filter, because whenever you change the uh, direction of the viewing, you are basically viewing one particular wavelength which is different from the reference wave. So these are the two advantages uh, of the thick hologram. So thick holograms can also be reflective as well as transmittive, and for complete 3D viewing, thick holograms, whereas thin holograms for uh, uh, document security, for other cheaper applications where 3D viewing is not critical. Complete 3D viewing is not critical. So this was the now this is one color classification. Second classification is based upon the optical geometry. And there are two types of holograms. One is the single beam or inline hologram. Other is the off-axis or offline hologram. In the single beam, here you see the single beam hologram. It is also called inline Gabor scheme. Gabor was the person who invented holograms. So in the inline hologram, you have a single beam here and the object is here. Now some portion of the beam uh, is scattered because of the object. So you get a scattered light, and some portion of the beam uh, is transmitted without getting scattered to the recording plate. So you are getting both the beams. One is the scattered beam and other is the transmitted beam. So that means the transmitted beam is the reference beam and the scattered beam is the object beam. And the interference fringes will be formed because of the interference between the object beam and the transmitted beam. So the advantage of such a inline hologram is that you you make a very crisp, small, compact hologram. So this is one type of hologram. Another type of hologram is off-axis hologram. In the off-axis hologram, the object wave is coming from one direction, whereas the reference wave is coming from another direction. And so these are off axis and they both interfere among themselves to form the image on the screen. And if you want to see the reconstruction, then you just have to use the reference beam to see the reconstructed image. So the basic difference is about the source of beam in classifying the single beam or off-axis hologram. These are the two informations. So uh, there are other types of holograms, but these two were the key because one was giving you about the type of outcome, and other was giving about the configuration, geometrical configuration. Right. Now we go to the next slide to see other classifications. See, the other classifications will be more or less using the same type of configurations which we just discussed, like inline or offline. But of course, each type of classification has different applications. Like a Fourier hologram is a lens-less hologram. You don't use lens in such a hologram. So I will just give you detail of these holograms through a reference which was published in Shodha Ganga, and I will just click this to, uh, uh, to go through that paper uh, which discusses all these holograms. So it will take a bit of time, but this will be very good information also. And you can use this reference for your notes on this subject. I hope this works. Yeah, looks like it is working. Yeah. So it is taking time, but I am utilizing both the facilities for network. So this is a paper on holography. I'm not interested in all the details, but if you are interested, you can go through the other details also. What I am interested in is about the classification. So I am going straight to those areas. The principle we already have discussed. Like here they are giving example. See, this is the example of a offline hologram because the object wave is coming from this portion, whereas reference is from the other direction. Anyway, let us go to the yeah. This is the theoretical just derivation, theoretical derivation of the holography principles. I'm not going into those detail. Uh, yeah, this is inline hologram which we have already discussed. This the example is just given here. This is the object, and the scattered wave are here. We have the scattered wave, and here is the transmitted. Sorry, this is the transmitted wave, and this is the scattered wave, object wave, and this is the transmitted wave, and both interfere. As you can see, this is the reference wave. So that means transmitted wave. So this we are not going to discuss. Off-axis offline hologram that we told you earlier. Now it is the Fourier hologram. So what does Fourier hologram say? That if the object and the reference source of light, object source of light and reference source of light are within the same plane parallel to the hologram, then these so-called Fourier holograms are generated. That means you see here, this is the object plane, this is the recording plane, and this is the object plane, and this is the reference source. So both are in the same plane. If both are in the same plane, then this type of recording is called a Fourier hologram, right? Now it has here one advantage is there that you are not using a lens. So there is a natural divergence of waves from the object, scattered waves from the object, and there will be a positioning of the reference wave at the same plane so that the light coming from this and from the object are interfering and form interference fringes. So such type is called Fourier hologram and also a lens-less hologram. Right now, uh, the reconstruction is also given here. Uh, what are the important properties of such a hologram? The special property of this Fourier hologram is that, like in all thin holograms, two images appear during reconstruction, but both are virtual now, right? So this regular image is in the position of the original object in a thin hologram, right? So now we go to the uh, next one, and that is a Fraunhofer hologram. Fraunhofer hologram is similar to the Fourier hologram in the sense that the image, the object, and the reference source are in the same plane, but they are moved far apart in comparison to their position in case of Fourier hologram. Why? I just see. Fourier holograms are formed by the superposition of spherical waves whose centers have the same distance from the holographic layer. But if the distance between the object plane and the reference plane and the photographic layer, holographic recording plate is moved far away, that means if the distance increases, then this kind of holograms are called Fraunhofer holograms. And uh, why we are, I am also saying Fraunhofer holograms because it uses the diffraction phenomena also in the image formation. So this was the Fraunhofer hologram. Then you have image plane hologram. That is another type of hologram. This image plane hologram has one particular characteristics, that is it uses a lens system, right? And object is imaged into the plane of the hologram by a large lens. The lens is very large, so you can see the image on the plane of the hologram itself, right? So that means the during the reconstruction, the real image of the extended objects is partly in front and partly behind the hologram. So it is near the holographic plane. Such holograms are called image plane holograms. There is a rainbow hologram. It is also called a white hologram, and these can be uh, reconstructed in transmission mode using white light. That means although in the reference wave you are using a coherent beam, but while reconstructing the image you can use a normal white light which has all its color within its fold, and this reconstructed image appears in different colors exhibiting the whole light spectrum. You will get different colors. So so this was about the rainbow hologram, and similarly there is a double-sided hologram, there is a reflection hologram. Reflection and transmission type holograms we have already discussed many times. Cylindrical hologram is very interesting. Here you have the recording plate is in a cylindrical form. It surrounds the object and the lens is in this direction. Now what happens is that this recording plate records all the information interference pattern because of the light coming from a distant source through the lens. It and uh, it strikes the object here, then the scattered wave are collected here, and there is one light which is coming directly to this, both interfere and form the image. So this was all about classification. Then as far as the classification and technology is concerned, you have two types of technologies. One was based upon the optical geometry, where the recording is done on a recording plate which is a material and a chemical, and the material is uh, photosensitive depending upon the wavelength you are using. But another technology is now becoming very popular, and that is digital holography, in which you use the technologies of digital photography, signal processing, right? And finally, you store the complete holographic information in form of digits on a computer. So this is not the scope of the subject, so I am I'm just closing it. So I'm just closing it, but the idea was to show that how each of these classifications are uh, visible to you, right? So this is as far as the classification is concerned. Now we are going to applications. The holography has many applications. 3D dimensional pictures are very common. You can do it. Detection of stress in materials. And if you look carefully, when you see the 3D picture, that means you are seeing the layer by layer information about the depth of the material. That means any stress inside the material, any deformation inside the material will form a different type of diffraction pattern or an interference pattern, and that will be visible through in a holographic image, right? And we'll go into this detail further in the non-destructive testing. Now, another application is the holographic displays in cockpit of aircraft, and this is one such application uh, where the complete information about the instrumentation or the gadgets of the aeroplane or even in some cars is available here uh, on the dashboard, but through a projection lens and mirror system the whole information is directed on the windscreen of the glass, and then there is a reference image also which is falling on the windscreen of the glass. Both interfere and form the virtual image here. So the driver is able to look at this information of the gadgets or the instruments not by viewing on the dashboard but by viewing directly on the windscreen. And the advantage with such a viewing is that he doesn't have to look below, so he is not distracted because of the need of uh, getting the information about all his vehicle operation characteristics. A similar thing is in the aeroplane also, and this becomes more important in aeroplane because the speed of the aeroplane is very high, so he doesn't have time to look at the information uh, uh, available on the dashboard or on the panel. So now one question you may ask that will this information available on the cockpit or the windscreen distract the driver's attention because he will see other objects also in this direction? So no, because he a color code can be chosen for this image which has a least probability of being in front of the pilot or the driver. For example, in the aircraft, this is normally green. So, and when the aircraft is airborne, there are no greeneries available. So the driver's attention will not be distracted, right? So this is all about uh, holographic optical elements. In aircraft, it is also called head head up display. Head up display. That means head is up. The driver doesn't have to see below. So head is up, and he's able to see the image uh, on the cockpit itself. So so this is a head regarding head up display. Optical computers are another applications, and some of these applications you can see here. This is another very good example. Actually, I will just show you how it. What are those applications? Uh, yeah, just a moment. This is also a very good piece of information. I think it is not coming. So let me try once again. Yeah, it has come. Okay, fine. So these are the current and future applications of holography. Uh, holographic interferometry, interference fringes and their measurement process is used by researcher and industry designers to test and design many things from tires, TYERS, tires and engines to prosthetic limbs and artificial bones and joints. So this is an example of a 3D imaging. So here they are using thick holograms. Supermarket and department store scanners use a holographic lens system that directs laser light into the barcodes of the merchandise. Now this is using a thin hologram. Holographic optical element I just discussed. In fact, I took this from this reference only. This we have already discussed. Medical doctors can use 3D holographic CAT scans to make measurements without invasive surgery. See, this is very important how the technology is helping people. This technology is also used in medical education. Holograms are used in advertisements, consumer packaging of products. This is all mostly it will be thin hologram. Now, magazine publications, this is also based upon thin holograms. Credit cards, debit cards, all for security purposes. These are all thin holograms also. What is more important, you see, for storing the information, archival recordings of valuable and fragile museum artifacts. This is very important information. Then people are now using this holographic technology in their digital cameras, right? That means cameras will be available which will be more will be holographic and they will be focused accurately in dark conditions also. And so there are these applications. Some other applications are there will be 3D TVs which are already coming to the market, and then night vision goggles. But what is important is that you will have to use a lens which allows the uh, that wavelength uh, which can be transmitted uh, through the darker areas. So this is another applications where holographic televisions will be available. Then there is another application about the optical computers, and these optical computers will use the holographic memory. See, you will have it store storing capacity of 1 terabyte, 1000 GB. At present, you have computers in the range of 120 GB. So you can imagine uh, how much this thing your information is available. So this was all about the applications. One last part which we will be discussing is the non-destructive testing. As you saw here in the case of detection of stress, see, non-destructive testing is a method uh, to carry out non-destructive testing. That means you don't have to destroy the material. And I will just go through this briefly. See, the this optical holographic techniques can be used for non-destructive testing of materials. And uh, so, so whatever we are discussing today is the optical holography. So this is for optical holography, but non-optical holographic techniques are also there, like acoustical, ultrasonic, microwaves, X-ray. In fact, the holographic imaging of your body through a X-ray holography is always possible, and in coming future, you will see these applications taking shape for regular applications. Already at the airport security systems, you will find such examples. So, in the holographic non-destructive techniques, the test sample is interferometrically. That means interference fringes will be found interferometrically compared with the sample after it has been stressed. That means you compare the two states of the material. See, and you see here the schematic. A laser source is there. Now two sources. One is will go through to the specimen object, right, and other is the reference wave, right, and these two will form the interference fringes here, and And if you compare it with an unstressed sample, then the difference between that interference fringes between the two will give you an information that how much stress has taken place inside the material. So this is a very important piece of information, and such a method, when used with the modern technology, can be very fast. It can be used in different applications, in fluid mechanics, gas dynamics, real-time visualization, and so on. And it can be used uh, in your aircraft applications and space applications also, because there the chances of failure will be further reduced if the stress in the material is tested much before the actual operations. So this is what I wanted to discuss this video. I think I have completed everything in this chapter. Thank you very much. So thank you.